But and then he like stretched way down. He was like, okay, I still want something else. And then he wasn't even eating rice or anything. He was ready to go in.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's fine.
He likes to stick to his routine. He says, it's time, this door's supposed to be open, that's when I go back up for my morning nap. Even though I've only been awake for like 45 minutes. What's been your favorite thing so far that you learned about him?
Um, I mean, so I have been researching and reading about them, but so I thought, like I read about the predators yesterday, um, but I thought the three-toed sloth was like endangered, but he said not really. It's just,
Yeah, the three-toed are definitely closer to being endangered than the two-toed sloths just because of how sensitive their diets are. They really can only eat the leaves of the circumpolar trees, so we have a much higher population of the two-toed because a lot of them have been born raised in captivity. And they do well on that diet. Obviously, they're not going to be exposed to rice and things like that out in the rainforest, but the three-toed sloths really can't eat anything like that.
so you guys like just keep rice cooked?
Yeah. Yeah, it lasts usually about 2 days, then we gotta make another batch. That was quick, buddy.
He's so sweet.
Did you have any other encounters while you guys were here, or was this Sloth the first thing?
This is it.
Really? We definitely got a lot of other really cool animals here.
I don't know, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Where were you guys staying?
The courtyard at Marriott,
Okay.
Cleveland. Now he's full and wants to sleep.
Yeah.
This is the sweetest thing ever. So they can't see well?
No, so was he telling you about the condition that they have in their eyes? And that rod monochromacy?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, so they basically just see, since they only have the rod cells in their eyes and no cone cells, they really only pick up motion well, and about everything else is just shapes and blobs. They are completely colorblind, and so everything that they see is really just shadows. So a lot of times if they grab a hold of what they think could be the next branch and they don't give their brain time to process it, it could actually be their own front leg, and then they let go of the back leg and they'll fall. They do actually fall about once a week on average, so it isn't quite. They can't, yeah, because of how they're on the inside, basically built like trucks. And I think he was telling you about how many ribs they have, 46 ribs. Yeah, so it's 2 sets of 23. That's double what we have. And when they smack the ground from that high, their rib cage basically just flexes under their body weight and then goes back to normal. So they don't really sustain broken bones or internal damage because all of there's a lot of connective tissue that's holding all their internal organs in the middle of their body cavity where they're supposed to be at. So they don't really sustain, internal damage or bleeding.
He is not
Yeah.
news.
He has always done that since he was a baby. He does that as well as he will cover himself up with a blanket every time he sleeps. We always have to have a blanket in there with him.
He's so sweet. He's going to sleep. He has his belly full.
Three favorite things: food, sleeping, and people. And so since Dash is an ambassador sloth, and he went through that whole program that gets him comfortable with being around people, they genuinely enjoy and will actively seek out human interaction. And so you didn't get to see me pick him up out of his basket, but as soon as I walked in there and came up to him, he was already uncovered and he starts reaching up, trying to grab a hold of my leg, and I had to squat down for him to crawl up onto my arm. So he
Did they,
automatically wants to come up.
did they like dogs know certain people and get kind of cling to them? Did they do that as well?
Yeah, they recognize us through our voices and our sense of smell, and they definitely will pick out their favorite people. And so for Flash, his absolute favorite person is John, the owner. So he didn't have to get a whole lot of time to come in here this morning and get him woken up first thing. So that's probably why he was a little bit slower for his encounter. Usually it's his routine that John will come in here baby talking for a little bit, give him a little slice of banana, and pet him a few times, and that gets his day going. Then he's rooting and tooting and ready for his encounters. But he didn't really have time to come in this morning. That's why it's a little bit slower. And then for Zoe, her absolute favorite person is Donna, John's wife. And so when she was a little baby, she would sleep on Donna's chest all the time. I mean, just she was with Donna all the time. So that was really her person, and so she knows her voice really well, to the point where Donna can't really do encounters like this with Zoe, because if she's in the same room as Zoe and somebody else is holding her, she's just trying her best to get back to Donna. Yeah. And I'm trying my best to not let Dash get so attached to me that he does that, where he's just looking at me the whole time. So I try to make sure that everybody has a chance to feed him and hold him and do different things, and I'm not the only one taking care of him. Like Donna was for Zoe for the first several months she was here.
This is so sweet.
Well, people says it thinks that they, it lowers their blood pressure when they're sitting with a sloth in their lap.
I can see that.
Yeah, somebody had a Apple Watch on the other day that was saying that they had high blood pressure before when they were first coming in. They were real anxious about it, but then after a few minutes of them sitting in their lap, the blood pressure slowly started to go down.
We took our watches off. We thought we couldn't wear them.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time it's better if you don't have jewelry and necklaces and stuff like that on, because they are drawn to things like that, and they'll go to mouth on it and figure out what it is. So we send out the email too about the perfume and lotion, not wearing heavy, stuff like that, because they pick up on
The
things.
only thing I have is gum in my mouth. I was wondering if
No, that's not a big deal. It's usually the people that, douse themselves in cologne or perfume. And I can always tell that if somebody walks by me and I can already smell their, perfume or something, I can already tell you that it's not going to be a very snuggly encounter, because the whole time the sloth's going to be looking back at me like, oh my goodness, I can't breathe.
yeah. This is the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah. Dash is a good cuddler.
He's sticking his tongue out just a little bit. So sweet.
Dash has actually lightened up quite a bit from what he was when we first got him. So when he first came to us and he was about 4 months
Here's
old,
this dark.
yeah, that darky spot that's on the top of his head is what probably was all over.
Kind of like
Yeah, Chloe. Yeah. And she'll lighten up starting at about 7, 8 months old is when they start, the little hairs underneath that are lighter start to poke through, and they'll shine through in the middle of their back. And by the time he's about 2 years old, he'll kind of have the same coloration pattern as Flash, where the whole middle of his back will be light, and then his head and his legs will be darker. But Dash has always been really dark in general. You saw the difference between Chloe, how she was just kind of a, chocolatey brown color. He's almost like a mocha or almost black on top of his head.
that little, when he first uncovered that little face. I wish I would have gotten a picture.
Oh.
Don't do that again. Don't do that again when you go in the car. Do you understand me? Hold Granny's hand. Hold
Some
Granny's
of
hand.
the food that was on his mouth fell on the
Oh. Yeah, he has no regards for anything like that. And he's a quite messy eater as well. He hates to have his face cleaned off. You go to wipe his face and he's like, But then as soon as you set him back into his basket to nap, the first thing he does is starts to wipe his face off on his towel.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey.
Do you want me to take some pictures for you?
I love that. My code is 8555.
Well, I might be able to hack this all over. I know how to work the iPhones, but it's on the other phones that I don't know how to work. Dash. Usually he looks back at me when I'm moving around back here, poses a little bit. Go. Get a little close up of his face, even though it's got a bunch of sweet potato all over it. wish I could hear their thought process, because sometimes all I see is just a little buffering signal on the back of their head. I really don't think there's too much going on in there.
I wonder.
Little brain cells fighting for first place.
I read that they were aggressive, and it's hard to imagine.
Yeah. Well, they definitely can be. So essentially, if you were to try to have an encounter like this with a sloth that had never been handled before, just a sloth in the rainforest, it could be the difference between holding a house cat and a feral cat. They would be trying to, get away with everything that they've got. And they can have bursts of energy. So you saw just a little bit, a flash going back up. But if they're startled by something, or if just a little fly lands on the back of his head, he cannot stand it, and that arm will fly back there as quick as he can.
Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of people are scared by that, because they're like, I had no idea that they could move that fast. Because all of their other movements
They
are really
can,
nice and
they're
slow.
just,
Yeah, exactly. Because every way of life about a sloth is that they're just trying to think of the most way possible that they're going to be able to conserve most energy as possible. Because everything is very energy expensive for a sloth. They're already working on very low energy budgets. So to have a whole lot of quick jerky movements like that uses up energy quickly. They kind of have to select when they want to do that. And I think that a lot of places will say that sloths are dangerous because of the bacteria they have on their backs and the bacteria they have in their mouths. It can be harmful to people. It's not really true. It's just because a lot of conservancy agencies and things will put that out there on the internet to almost kind of use it as a scare tactic so that people don't want to interact with sloths, because it's a real issue for them down there in Costa Rica and Honduras, where people are going to go on a cruise and get off and try to have a sloth encounter. And those encounters are going to be with wild sloths, and the first several encounters are going to be very hectic, and they're going to be trying to get away from those people. But after they've used up all of their energy reserves, then they're just being placed on a person's chest after chest and go through basically that whole cruise ship. And the sloths just lay there the whole time because they're about on their deathbed. And that's what happens a lot of times. It really decreases their life expectancy dramatically, because beforehand, before the sloth does their encounters, they'll dunk it in a bucket of cleaner and scrub off all of that moss and algae that they've got living on their backs there. Get rid of all that, the bugs, those moths that are living in their fur, because nobody wants to hold a sloth that has all that in it. And so they'll get rid of all that. And for a wild sloth, they need those moths because they get the bacteria that they use to digest their food from that. And so if you get rid of all those for a wild sloth, decreases their life to about 2.5 weeks. That's about how long it takes for a sloth to starve. And they can pass away with a full belly of food, just unable to digest any of it, but pass from starvation. And so that's why, really the reason why we have sloth encounters like this, where these guys have been bred in captivity in an ethical environment, in an appropriate situation, to have an encounter with these guys and be able to interact with them, where it's enjoyable for them and for us. Because if it wasn't enjoyable for them, it would not be enjoyable for us, and we would know it. And that's why all of our animals encounters are the animals encounters. They get to dictate how the encounters go and whether or not they even interact with people. All of our, animals are ambassador animals that enjoy being around people, but everybody kind of has their own days. And I've never had to end an encounter due to, the sloth not wanting to be held. We have to be their advocates. So at the beginning, how I was talking about petting real slow with an open hand. Some people are super excited about seeing a sloth for the first time. And I can already tell their energy's real amped up. I have to take my time and talk just a little bit more beforehand to kind of slow them down. Because if I hand the sloth over to somebody who's really amped up, they feed off of people's energy, and they'll get a lot more active. They'll be looking around, looking at me like, what is going on? Why is this person so crazy? So I've got to really decompress people before the interaction even starts. If we start out good, we always end good.
That's cool.
I always tell people too that, of course, human safety is our primary concern, but animal comfort is our number two, because since they can't advocate for themselves, it's our job to do that and understand each individual animal and understand the body language that they can display that would shows any signs of stress or discomfort.
I don't think there's any signs of stress or discomfort.
Tongue just completely sticking out. Let's see what it would look like if we showed it.
Are their noses wet?
Sometimes His is just a little bit dry because we haven't misted his enclosure yet. They do get misted daily because they not only do they have high temperature requirements, but also high humidity requirements. So we do have to mist them. That's why a lot of times their noses are a little bit more moist. But their paw pads actually on their paws there feels pretty similar to their nose. It just kind of feels like leather, nice leather couch or something.
Yeah, it looks like a big slut. That's why I was asking. So sweet. Do they have the same color eyes, all of them?
Pretty much, yeah. All of the sloths that I've seen anyway, all the two-toed Linnaeus. Of the two-toed variety, there are Linnaeus and there's Hoffman. But the Hoffman, really the biggest difference is just the coloration of their fur. They tend to, like the color that Flash was in the middle of his back, that real light cream color,
Yeah.
is what color the Hoffmans are pretty much all over their bodies. They don't have a darker head or darker legs or any dark hair poking through. Is this the first time you've ever had a sloth encounter or been around one? Yeah. Where did you hear about us?
My friend Christy that's here, she actually gave me this for my birthday. My birthday was last month, but she came, I don't know how she found it. We both went to college at Lee University though, so
Yeah.
kind of familiar with the area,
Yeah.
but I had never heard of it.
Well, the Warners they moved here in 2019. When they first moved, there was the main house, the horse barn, and the roadside cabin. And everything else that's here, this building, the pavilion, all of the covered wagons, everything has been of their doing. So when they first moved, they started doing an Airbnb with their roadside cabin. And slowly over time, they had dogs, of course, and they got horses and chickens. And people would start to request, like, my kids have never been around horses before. Can we brush our horses with you? Or can we collect eggs with you in the morning? And slowly their requests just started to become more and more. And they were like, well, we're actually going to have to do this and start to do really time consuming. And
Looks like you have brand new ink. Did you just get ink on? Wow,
It's not.
wow, it's really bright.
I think the arm was 2015.
No way.
Yeah,
Huh, that's pretty good.
thank you.
But with them being out on the banks of the Coy River too, people just started asking, like, can you just drop us off at the Sugarloaf, just let us raft down, and over time, it just, as the requests started to get more and more, we started to kind of add on more animals and more encounters and everything, and then built this building and the pavilion and all the fences, put in the covered wagons. Sounds like somebody has a campfire going on. Yeah.
He's hugging tired.
Yeah, the loud noise of him getting those apples out, I saw him jump.
Yeah, well, I think I jumped, but it's because he
Oh, started to tighten down, yeah. Yeah, sudden noises like that can kind of startle him, gets him worked up. His eyes were about to bug out of his head. He's like, what's going on?
that little tongue. He's so cute. A year old, huh?
I think we just think that this is birthday.
Do they make noises?
They definitely can, when they're babies, they vocalize kind of like a call to their mothers. They'll go, meh, meh.
Really?
Yeah, and they do that sometimes if we walk in and if I come in and I'm doing something else and Chloe knows that I'm in here, but I don't immediately go over and talk to her.
Good to meet you. Have a safe drive. You're welcome.
so you gotta actually say what I say. You say, who's good boy? Who's good boy? Oh, who's good boy? Who's good boy? Like that. All right, so you guys can grab snacks out of this dish right here and give them to the kangaroos. You just stick your hand through the fence with the apples, they'll eat them out of your hand. These guys are all red kangaroos, but the redness of a red kangaroo is a male hormone-driven trait. The females turn the bluish-gray color as soon as they leave the pouch. The males will remain red throughout their life unless they're neutered or very old. The red kangaroo normal family group is 1 male, 50 females. So if you want to be the 1 male, 49 have got to go. The zebra comes, or one of them. Good catch, better than the throw. All right, so the normal family group for red kangaroos is 1 male, 50 females. So if you want to be the 1 male, 49 have got to go, and that is the way they roll. In the wild, a male kangaroo is lucky to make 5 years. Are we okay? In the wild, a male kangaroo is lucky to make 5 years. In captivity, though, we don't hunt them, shoot them, run them down with pickup trucks, chase them off cliffs, or poison them, and we don't let them take each other out. So in captivity, these dudes can live 20 years, and they never stop growing. So in the wild, a male kangaroo is lucky to live 5 years. They max out around 140, 150. That's what size that guy is right there. In captivity, they can live 20 years and they never stop growing. In captivity, the record for an adult male kangaroo is 6'7" standing on the ground, 8.5 feet nose to tail. So we have both the genetics and the intent to grow a record-sized kangaroo here. The father of our father kangaroo passed not of natural causes at 8 years old. He was 6'2" and 225. The father of all our females except for Phoebe passed at 10 years old, again not of natural causes, and he was 6'4" and 250 when he went. Had either one of those two made it to their full 20 years, they almost certainly would have exceeded 7 feet. So in the breeding of very large kangaroos, you do need not only the genetics but also the intent. A lot of places put their kangaroos down when they get massive because they get mean. Our kangaroos, that is why we bottle feed them all the way to 18 months. The longer you bottle feed a kangaroo, the friendlier kangaroo you will have. Don't pet him underneath the neck, your finger's going to be red and turned on. The redness of the red kangaroo, see how he's red under the neck? That is where his musk glands are. The musk comes out from under there and oozes across his body. That's what makes him red. That also is why we're on this side of the fence today, not that side of the fence. See that female down there that's all red? That's rubbing off of him. When he is actively breeding, we are on this side of the fence, not that side. But so that you get closer interaction with kangaroos, we are going to go inside and pet the babies here in a few minutes because we don't want to short you on your experience. You get more, not less, if we can't give you exactly what we thought. So kangaroos are moving machines. An adult male kangaroo can jump at least 20 feet from a standstill. There's more apples here if anybody wants a few feet. The adult male kangaroo can jump at least 20 feet from a standstill. Counting by these fence posts, from that wood one that's 8, 16, halfway to the third is 20. If they're already moving, they can jump twice that far. So again, from the wood post, that's 8, 16, 24, 32. Where Grant is standing, that's 40 feet. The kangaroo can make that distance in a single jump if he's already moving. There is one video he makes 55 feet in a single bound. Kangaroo can move 45 miles an hour. They can really get it done across the desert. Now I can tell you when I hiked the Appalachian Trail before my son and covered 12 to 14 miles a day, we had to be counting 5,000 calories a day. Kangaroo doesn't. Kangaroo, for a human, walking is effort of 1. Jogging is 3 to 4 times the effort, 50 calorie intensity of walking. He hates the tripod. Taller than him, so he hates it. No joke. So when he's jumping on his back feet, he is a 5-head. So Winnie the Pooh disserviced us in 2 specific ways. One, he's not the
He's wandering a little bit.
He wasn't bad. 2, it is not the stickers whose bottoms are made out of springs. It is the kangaroo. That is how the kangaroo can move 15 and 20 miles per day. When they're standing up like that, that's when you measure and say how tall they are. He's currently about 5'8". They can get almost 7 feet tall. So if you see the tight bands going down the backs of his legs, those are tendons. Now for humans, a tendon connects to a muscle back to, and then the muscle connects back to a tendon and then to the bone. The kangaroo, that tendon goes from bone to bone. So as he comes down out of the air, it stretches that tendon like this, and then as he goes out, as he jumps forward, slams that tendon down like a spring and flings the kangaroo forward by the force of springs, not by the strength of muscles. If he was jumping by the strength of muscles, he would need as many calories as a man to cover the distance a man would cover. But he's going to cover 15 and 20 miles per day in the desert and only eat about 500 calories a day. The springs are really super effective. All right, guys, we're going to go outside and see babies now so you get a little more close-up interaction with them.
You ready to go see the baby kangaroos? You ready to see the babies?
Ruff loves to follow me around when I'm walking around out here. It is a beautiful day. Hey everybody, come on out to Coe Riverside Farm. This is Ruff. Ruff is a red kangaroo, and you can come out here and hang out with all of these awesome animals. We have over 150 animals, including sloth, kangaroos, and llamas. I think Ruff's pretty cool. We are gonna head up to the baby zebra later on this afternoon. I think we're gonna be doing some test encounters with the staff, with Fallon. But right now we're out here in the main pasture, just hanging out with some cool animals. Let's see if we can get that wagon in the background for y'all. So zebras are a little skittish sometimes, so can't get super close, but we'll see what we can do today. Kangaroos are weird looking animals, I agree. They kind of look like T-Rexes, like a furry T-Rex, or at least that's what I think. What you doing up there, Marty? Hey guys, welcome to Coe Riverside Farm. This is Marty, and you're staring at gotta come stay. It's really, really cool. We're gonna head inside and check out some baby kangaroos. All right, let's head inside and see if we can catch up with some baby kangaroos. Well, I try not to fall in any of these random holes in the field. Ruff here is giving me an escort. I'm gonna see if I can keep this steady so you can watch him when he follows me. Yep, I'm getting my escort from Ruff. He's our adult male red kangaroo, and he wants to make sure I'm not messing with any of his ladies. I see you, Ruff. Ed, you're... What do you have to say about that, Ed? I think you should be like a spokesman for mouthwash. You know, like, this is how you gargle or something.
Well, it would be based on your state law, I'll sell it to you, I don't care. But Alabama, I think you can, Georgia, I tell you you cannot. If you're gonna have a kangaroo as a pet, the limiting factor, you need a 6-foot fence. No cats, no cats, no cats, so help me God, no cats. Because cats can carry something called toxoplasmosis. Human females can be pregnant, can be subject to that at 15,000 parts per million. Fatal to a kangaroo at 5 parts per million. So, yeah, goats, chickens, and horses. Yep, no cats. And you need a dog to keep away stray cats, feral cats, whatever. So yeah, if you buy a neutered male kangaroo here that's been bottle fed by 500 people, it will be a friendly pet. They're about $5 grand. If you bought one from someone else, you just wanted one to look out in the back 40 that you're never going to touch it, you could get it from somebody else for $1,000. But they don't have near the money and the milk that I do. And you're not going to get it from the kangaroo somewhere else. Some people want to hunt them. Yeah. But I don't sell it. Say what? All of the females cost too much money to keep as a pet. Females go to 10,000 to 12,000. The males, if you were buying an unneutered male from someone else, you could get it for $1,000, but it would be a dangerous animal. If you get a neutered male from someone else, you can get it for about $2,500. It's expensive to neuter them, even though they're just hanging down there, whatever. But from here they're 5. And the 2 that I recently sold as pets are on Our Life Adventures. People have 10 monkeys that live in their house. That's what it is to Tom and Jerry. I think they might have renamed them now. But yeah, Kevin and Jamie that have all the monkeys in the house. That's where the last 2 are. All right, guys. So there are 2 things that make a kangaroo ready to deliver again. Number 1, if it stops nursing whatever baby it's currently nursing, that takes the blocker off of the Pitocin, boom, has another baby immediately. Number 2, if a kangaroo is designed to birth as many babies as it can nourish and no more. So if a kangaroo gets overweight, that means it could be nourishing more babies. So it will double up the production of Pitocin to bypass the blocker and birth another one now. If the baby that was already in the pouch has been in there long enough that it's already gone from colostrum to milk, second teat will start over with colostrum while the first one continues to make milk. That is the only animal I am aware of that can make 2 different products with its 2 different teats at the same time. The nipple grows as it, yeah. They'll fit, and the baby one, what shifts it from colostrum to milk is the baby starting to nurse and release, nurse and release. So it'll remain latched on continuously, so there's no opportunity for the other one to drink from their own nipple. Kangaroos are not carrying mothers. If a kangaroo were to have a mantra, that mantra would be live to have more at all costs. If the female is being pursued by a predator and has a baby in the pouch large enough to slow it down, it will throw it down for bait and ditch. Live to have more. If the female is malnourished or dehydrated, it will throw the baby away and ditch. Live to have more. If the female is dehydrated, they stop making pitocin, so no babies can be delivered until the female is back to health. The kangaroos have a brutal but effective means of surviving drought. A drought in a desert place can last for a couple of years. So at the start of the drought, all of the females throw all of the babies away. Normal family group, 1 male, 50 females. So we're talking for the 50. One is insignificant. So the drought starts. They all are pregnant and both uteruses, but they would not birth the baby till the end of the drought because they're malnourished or dehydrated. They throw all the babies away. So their population is frozen throughout the drought. If the drought is long and they do poorly, maybe 25 survive. So they went in with 50, they came out with 25. Drought in a desert place ordinarily ends with extremely heavy rainfall. So everything at the end of a drought in a desert turns lush and green immediately. Kangaroos re-nourish, rehydrate near immediately, and they all birth their first baby. They gorge themselves on all the suddenly plentiful lush green food such as they've never seen before, and in a short period of time they're all overweight, so they all birth again. So their numbers would then have gone 50, 25, 50, 75. They will be stronger by individual because the strong survive, the weak do not, and stronger as a genetic population because the weak were removed from the gene pool when they failed to thrive. So the double the number of offspring all come from the strongest kangaroos because the weak ones are gone. So you can make the argument that a drought is a very good thing for kangaroo populations. And that is why kangaroos are absolutely prolific in Australia. Kangaroos, in fact, outnumber humans in Australia, kangaroos and wallabies together, at least 3 to 1. There are, the last study that I read was 2009, and there were 60 million kangaroos and wallabies and about 17 million humans in Australia. Here we call them exotic animals. There they call them varmints and pests. Where are you guys from?
Jacksonville, Alabama.
Yeah, he's from Birmingham. My other brother lives in Huntsville, and he says he lives on the square. Whatever that means. I guess it's where the old houses are. And yeah, you can't get your head around the size of that rock until you walk into it. So he lives in Cougar. My other brother lives in Huntsville. My other brother lives in DC. My sister lives in Trussville. Inverness. She has been living in Trussville by Jim and Nick's, praise the Lord. And my other one was living in Helena, but she just moved to Kentucky. All right, guys, got to put these guys away, and I'm on to the camels.